Folks,
It's the holiday season.
We are life. Nothing good comes on time, right? That's us, right? We're never on time. So, folks, welcome to Talking Crit. I, as you probably already know, am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me is my once a week work spouse, Bad Mike Battalato.
And I might say you might notice there's nobody below me. Is there usually somebody below us?
No special guest today. Now,
No, none.
We have a possible special guest lined up for next week, which is special in a very special way.
Yes,
and
we shall see.
We may ask you to treat them with the utmost respect, which
means just destroy them,
destroy. So you guys have been very active in the comment section already. Thank you. By the way, 9:00, we're going to start doing our giveaways. We have actually, as we were waiting on Mike, just after 8:00, I was contacted by someone who had already offered to give something in, and then it's like, hey, I have something I want to give away on a daily basis. So it's an extra thing into the mix for today. So we're gonna have some good stuff in the mix.
Yeah, so the OSR Christmas that Eric has been doing for I don't even know how many years now. You've been doing.
I've lost track.
And then when you got sick, it was derailed for a while, and then the back, and I mean, you've had all kinds of crazy stuff. So, no, we got to go. So we got to. Are we gonna do some drawings tonight? We're gonna do drawings tonight.
We're gonna do drawings tonight. All you got to do is be in the mix. So I expect a very active chat. But then again,
yes.
But Mike definitely. And I are going to talk on topics that make you active anyway. And I say active,
correct.
Not like an overactive stomach. But just saying, you might be like, oh, interesting topic.
So Eric has made the ill-advised or maybe well-advised leap to Reddit with his bringing his particular style of happiness and joy to Reddit, and his topic he posted got some ridiculous, like 5 million views.
No.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
I believe we just crossed over 6,000, probably right before the show. But hold on a second. Let me tell you exactly. I'll look at we were at 5,997, 6,015 views for something that went up on Saturday, right?
6,015. That's insane.
It went up on the 10th. Yes, and and then I didn't put it on Reddit until Sunday. And when I put it up on Reddit, I give people on Reddit, if they're interested, they will comment, and if they comment, there's a good chance you're going to have somebody be a negative ninny. And this topic has been discussed about the monetization of D&D.
But Emperor's Choice. Thanks, guys. Got the kick-ass coffee mugs, shirt, and all kinds of goodies. So appreciate that very much. My wife says she will not use the coffee cup that says Ardent Bloody Arthur, but I will use it. So thank you so much for those, guys. We really appreciate that. We do not ask for gifts Well, okay, I take it back. I have a GoFundMe thing where I ask for money for hamburgers. Actually, it's a coffee. It's a coffee account. But I haven't done that in a while because I haven't taken a trip in a while. But I will beg for money for hamburgers every once in a while. But other than that, this show is payola plugola free. We do not take payola.
We do not take payoffs. But when it comes to OSR Christmas, we are very happy to take donations. I see a couple of people in the channel. Emperor's Choice is doing some very generous donations. Arcania's Workshop, a very generous donation. I actually went to their webpage to see what they are donating towards our Christmas, and I was like, holy crap. Very, very high quality stuff. So we'll get to that. That's Emperor's Choice has something for every day. So and that's one I just found out right as we were waiting on Mike to get back to us to return. So that's gonna be put into the mix for today from Emperor's Choice. So, but with Reddit, my experience with Reddit before was, I would go to Reddit and I would find some links and like, hey, this is a couple of years ago. Matt Finch pinged me and said, hey, Eric, listen, you're like the OSR news guy. We are, because of the Kickstarter, we are releasing Swords of Wizardry complete in PDF for free to the masses. I'm going to make sure you have a copy that is not watermarked, and you can share that copy. I did a Dropbox link, did it all. And I did that to the OSR group, and it was awesome for about 2 hours until I got banned because I was pimping my own blog post. I guess I should have just gone directly with the Dropbox link. Even then, I don't know. With my Dropbox link. Apparently, with the OSR Reddit, you cannot share your own. You got to talk other people up, I guess. I don't know. But with the D&D Reddit, which has, I don't know, over 2 million readers, instead I got a little pushback, which I answered and gave a detailed explanation of what I covered in the video. And then it went on fire for at least one of our videos. I was very happy to see that. So, but it does also tell me the conversation that went on there, they were like, I don't know, well over 500 comments on that Reddit thread. Blew my mind. I had to turn off notifications in my email because it was
wow. Yeah, beeping all the time. It's bothering me.
So I'm
by the way,
catching up on the chat. Holy shit.
We've got a week and a half till the holiday, and I wanted everybody to know I'm in a festive mood tonight, so I have my my festive holiday cup. I'm at home, by the way. I'm at the warehouse again. We still don't have internet at the warehouse. And here's a favorite: every holiday season, Winter Jack. I bought a few bottles of Winter Jack hard cider.
Ooh,
I'm gonna mix myself a drink right here. While Eric's catching up, I'm gonna. Oh yeah, I love me some Jack. It's not.
I did not.
Not powerful enough to do anything to me. Whoa.
It's an interesting take on it. I read the article, the original article about the change of definition, but no, I did not. Interesting. So, oh my!
It's the holiday season.
I can't root for you, Mike, because you can't win anything. You're not allowed to.
Oh, by the way, so North Texas is making a donation to the prize pile. I just happen to have it with me right now. So one of the giveaways will be a backpack and dice bag from 2021. Some con-only publications. Nocturnal Trials of Reyes Paris Grotto by Metcalf, digest size. Return from Dragonmount, Edwin Nagy, digest size. Then we have full size. We have a couple modules here. The Instant Classic B2.5, Caves of the Unknown. If you ever want to know what the Caves of the Unknown on the map of B1 is about, well, Charlie Phipps, Tom Wilson, and Mike Battleauto decided to bring this to you. Old style, mono pastel cover. Great old artwork. And then we also have X 1.5, Dead Men Tell No Tales. This takes place in the Sea of Dread, real close to the Isle of Dread. So if you do an adventure there, you can jump over this island and have more adventure. Once again, pastel, blue maps, all the good stuff that you love out of old school modules. And both these modules are written for BX, which means they're good with OSE. And also we have Karen the Skeleton King limited art prints. These are all the Holloway prints from that module. Rob Coons had to print it up, never distributed them, and Doug got it. He was bailing Rob out one time for something, and Rob sent him a case of those. So that's going to be North Texas's contribution to the OSR Christmas.
We got a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah. And Eric's got a whole list of stuff there that if you. Did you post a list yet of all the goodies you have?
I didn't post a list. It'll probably be up on the Tavern's blog tonight. But if you want me to read out the list of what is so far in OSR Christmas, I will. If you can hold on to your hat. Mm-hmm. So from the Hyperborea Kickstarter, the regular printing and Mike is so white. I'm sorry. No,
I'm here. I'm here. I just took off the cam for a second.
I saw an old comment. Hyperborea. The players. I have the faux leather. That was the players' book took like a critical hit. The postal service. It was
that's right.
AC -9, -10. It was a beautiful packing job. It took a hit. However, it's not being given away tonight, folks.
I have mine over here. I got mine in the other day myself. So
it's a good thing I actually got the leatherette plus the regular edition, because my regular edition players' book took a really hard hit.
So this looks like this, except it's got the player's manual, except it's got issues. But it's still the limited printing. It's got the little limited thing in the front, and it's perfectly usable. Correct? I mean, you can use it.
It's going to be a regular printing. It's perfectly usable.
Oh, it's a printer print. I'm sorry.
The regular print took the critical hit.
Not the leather.
But we're going to include the modules, the map, the referee book. You're going to get it all. That'll probably be I don't know, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, somewhere around there. I'm going to be giving away a $10 drive-through RPG gift certificate every day.
Oh, nice.
Thaddeus Moore, best known for the OSR patches. He's got OSR refrigerator magnets, so he's putting 10 into the mix. So there'll be one almost every day.
Good Lord.
Fire in the Hole, HOHLE. I believe that is for MCC. There's going to be one print and one PDF, so 2.
I can't win any of this stuff. I can't win anything. I can't win any of this great.
No,
God dang it!
You can't. You definitely can't win your choice of Splinters of Faith 5e.
What?
The new one that was kickstarted, or
it's not even out yet. Good Lord!
A bunch of soft cover OSR like the adventures from Frog God / Necromantic Games. That's via Frog God and Zach Laser. James Mishler has a set of Shadow Dark PDFs. That's another one that's going to be one per day. So we have at least 2 people that are donating one. So if you don't know James Mishler is one of the OSR's greatest resources.
He is a savant when it comes to Judges Guild.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, his Judges Guild stuff is legendary. He's just not. For a while, he was a big name in the industry. He had a lot of issues. He had to drop out, but his stuff is quality. All James's stuff is high quality.
No, David, we're not giving away a bottle of official, which is the code.
But maybe we'll give away this bottle when I finish with it.
We're not gonna do that.
I'm gonna finish with it.
Dice Tower and Tray. That's from Arcania Workshop. The quality here is amazing. I looked it up on their website. Holy, whoever gets this. God bless. Now, a lot of the physical gifts are USA only. So, David and others, I apologize, but you know what? The Postal Service sucks shit. And they charge a ton. Yeah. Now, Bad Mike showed the Bad Mike a bag of miscellany. We've already seen that. There's going to be a random
Texas
modules of goodies. And when I say that, it's going to be very random. It's going to be full of some...
his old underwear, probably some socks.
No, it's all going to be gaming related. No. But no, it's
game related.
It's going to be game related. It's going to be. I have some duplicates, so if I know I have a duplicate, this might just go in the box. Emperor's Choice is giving away an Arduino map every day, and on the last day of OSR Christmas, they're going to add in a full set of Arduino Grimoires 1 through 9. So
okay, you can't miss that one. That is, oh dear, that's some gaming magnificence there. So
here's how it's going to work, folks. There are going to be days in a live stream where we give stuff away. So I kind of figured it out. There's at least 4 days in a live stream that we're going to give stuff away, including today. There's going to be 2 giveaways on the Substack that you see below. On the Substack, you just have to be subscribed. And then there will be giveaways on the blog. And the blog, you'll have a day or 2 to make a comment. And so we're just trying to find more ways to give away more stuff. So more, better, more, better, more, better. N-World is talking about how D&D never recovered from the 2E to 3E transition.
Okay, whatever. That what? I'm gonna find this because that's gotta be the dumbest article they published in a long time, because D&D was on the rocks. It was not. It was on life support when Wizards took it over. And as much as I don't like 3E and I don't play 3E, and it put a shot in the arm to not just D&D but the industry as a whole. It was huge. So I don't know if they said that. That's ridiculous. That's somebody who's not 30 years, who's under 25 years old, that doesn't know what D&D was like in the late 90s.
Now, L makes an interesting comment. Monty Cook is on record saying 3.5 was planned as a money grab before 3E was even printed. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. And
No.
this is where Mike and I are going to go, not into the weeds, but we're going to discuss why we're drawing certain conclusions with 1D&D, and our conclusions go back to 4E, at least in my case. I root this stuff in 4E. And part of the reason why is 4E was a system that was designed with the idea of being released with a virtual tabletop. VTTs were getting their feet.
Gleemax. Remember Gleemax?
Gleemax.
Gleemax.
What a great name. Maximum Glee. I think that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Dude, that intern gets a bonus. Give him an extra donut and some free coffee next week. Because that is what it reminds me of. But Gleemax was that we're going to have a system that is made. That's why people complain that, like, what 4E is more wargaming, but not wargaming in like the style that wargamers want. But it was built with the idea of a grid system. And 4E, first off, you should have known that the 4E VTT was doomed for failure when they got bit in the ass early on, showing a demo of it using the actual graphics from Fantasy Grounds and their dice roller. They actually cribbed those graphics and showed it as if it was their dice roller. So when you're doing shit like that, you don't have a lot to show for. But the VTT was going to be microtransactions. At the time, that was the thought. They were going to probably be an initial cost, and then you'd buy each mini. And if they charged you 25 cents an orc, it would have been awesome, right? You would have been, paying them lots of money.
It was very ambitious, and people were very eager to see how it would work. And the problem was it didn't work. It was rushed.
Well, Mike,
there was issues with the people, right? But I'm saying that the demo, the demo. The reason they had to put that crap there because the demo wasn't ready to go. There was no demo ready to go. So
right. And then what happened is we had a murder-suicide with a couple that were the lead programmers.
Oh yes, that's not good. That's never good.
That's kind of a terminal.
You don't plan for that. You can't plan for the murder-suicide. When that happens, you just can't plan for it. I mean, one day Eric and I might go on a murder-suicide. I don't know who's going to be the murderer or the suicider, but it could happen. In a con, probably in a con. But it won't be planned. We won't know what's going to happen until it happens,
Right. So, I'll be like, oops. Did I do that?
I actually shot Eric. I better shoot myself now because he's such an icon that I'm going to hated. I would be hated forever. So,
But the idea is that 4E was built to run side by side with the VTT. The VTT was going to be evergreen and build and bring in money. So that all went down the shitter. And that's a good reason why 4E never caught its stride, because it was a system without the support that it was being designed for. Okay.
Did I ever tell you my theory about 4E, by the way? What? I probably shared this before. So I think that if they would have done this, 4E would have been a success. And that is if they had licensed Paizo to do Pathfinder, but still published it under the WotC name, and came out with 4E, but they call it D&D Miniature Battles. Don't call it Dungeons and Dragons. Call it D&D Miniature Battles, and lean hard into the miniature aspect and the battle aspect, because, like you said, it's set up. It was all set up. If you've read any of the 4E modules, all they are is encounter after their battle set after battle set after battle set. That's all they are. Is it okay? Here's a room. Here's who's in these squares, and you're over here, and then you have a battle. And that's every 4E module is set up like that. Well, lean into that, but still publish 3E under Pathfinder, but still retain the rights that they were. This is going to be a topic we're going to come across, because we were talking about this earlier. A lot, if not all, of WotC's problems are self-inflicted, because there is a lot of arrogance in this company, and a lot of we only know how to do this. And look, when you're the most successful RPG ever published, and when you've made more money than any RPG ever published, and when you were the most successful brand of that RPG, which 5e is, hubris comes before a fall, friends. And so there's a lot of hubris and arrogance in this company, but it's not new. This has been around for this has been around since Atkinson and WotC rescued TSR from the jaws of defeat, because they were going down. They had not published anything for 7 months because Lorraine owed the printer money that she wasn't going to pay, and so the company virtually shut down for 6-7 months. The fans are left in the dark. If you were on AOL at the time, which had a TSR presence, it was radio silence. They were not allowed to say anything or talk about anything, so everything came through second party. Hey, something's wrong. They haven't paid their printer. Blah blah blah. So they white knighted them. They came in. They got rid of the witch is dead. They kicked Lorraine to the curb, gave her a golden parachute, and took over. And so they have delusions of grandeur. They think that everything they do is right. And this, by the way, we don't have to talk about this tonight, but this is a big problem with the stuff going on with Lanasa. The reason he has all the trademarks is because
they let that shit lapse.
Because that was made up of.
Something that came up.
Are we going to talk about that later?
I'm going to talk about it for a moment right now.
Okay.
Something that came up right before we went live.
Let's do it.
And let me just find it. So I probably can't embiggen it any more than it's going to be, but I will put it up on the screen there with you. And I'm going to say the highlighted part. Somebody highlighted something for me, because this is about the preliminary injunction. Wizards may well, in future, establish its ownership interest in the marks through earlier and continuous use. However, there are too many unresolved issues and factual disputes. Because not everybody is right at the same time, right? That's not how it works. Factual disputes for the court to find that Wizards has demonstrated a likelihood of success at this stage. So, folks, that literally, as in right before we went live, came up. I was like, holy shit. So, what does that mean for the Wizards of the Coast TSR legal action, lawsuit, whatever you want to call it? It means that once we're going to get to this, is going to play out. How about that? It's going to play out. It may have been better for all if it hadn't played out, because it might have reduced costs in the end for a likelihood that's not going to be in anybody's favor. But be as it may, this is what the judge's ruling on the preliminary injunction was just today. Now, what would that be? Because Wizards of the Coast didn't do anything active to renew its trademarks. They're claiming, which I'm not a lawyer. To me, it sounds legit, but they're claiming sales on drive-through of old materials kept it in print. The argument is obviously being made otherwise, but they never did anything. There are some simple ways to have kept your trademarks live, and the idea. And Mike and I might differ on the reasoning behind why they let them expire. I personally believe they let them expire because when Wizards of the Coast went from private ownership to being owned by Hasbro, the individuals at the company who had an idea of the value of these marks were no longer there and no longer had influence. And the parent company, Hasbro, was penny wise, pound foolish. Why are we going to spend X number of dollars renewing these trademarks, just putting one item in print that could name all, 27 trademarks we want? Why would we bother doing it? They could have put together an art book that showed the art from all the out of print stuff and put it out like once a decade and kept these things, these marks in use. They didn't. To me, that is simply common sense. Oh wait, I'm quoting a different common sense, and I'm not a doctor. But that to me is would have been a simple way, as opposed to having to go through these legal challenges and hoops.
See, my theory is a little different than Eric. I think it was hubris, and I think it was arrogance, and I think they just thought, oh, that's some stuff a bunch of old white guys used to work for the company made up. We're not going to ever do. We don't care, and nobody else is going to want it either. Who wants Star Frontiers? Who wants Boot Hill? Who wants all this shit? And I just think they were. This is one time and time again. This company has shown its arrogance, the way they treated Hickman and Weiss. Just over the years, the way they've dismissed the older guard of D&D and said, we don't need you, we don't want you, we don't care about you anymore. The way they've dissed the old creators by saying, we're going to have to put all these warnings on boy, I'm starting to sound like I'm not Lanos, aren't I? We're going to put all these warnings on products because these old guys, they were all racist, weirdos. They didn't really, and so I just think this is all part of a pattern that they show a lot of hubris and a lot of arrogance, and they just never thought it was going to come back to bite them in the ass, not renewing these trademarks. And because they didn't value these trademarks, they figured nobody else would value them either. Now, like I said, This is a theory, just like Eric's a theory, but this is, I lean towards that. I could lean toward Eric too. I mean, either way, but I just think that a lot of it was just, look, they've had this problem with hubris a few times in their history since WotC's taken over. The whole 3E, 3.5 Paizo fiasco is a fiasco, because for those of you who don't remember history, Pathfinder became the best-selling RPG in the world for several years, outselling D&D by quite a margin, not by a little bit. It was quite a huge margin because they dumped 3E or 3.5 way before its time had come. And They were so sure they were going to move into 4E and we're going to get rid of this OGL thing, and we're going to, you're going to have to pay to publish our stuff because we're losing so much money with 3E. And then Paizo jumped in and basically kept publishing 3E under the guise of Pathfinder. And guess what? Nobody left to go play 4E. They all stayed with Pathfinder, and Pathfinder, became the best-selling RPG several years in a row, outselling D&D. And so this is the first time they've and had to reconnoiter and decide that maybe let's do it a different way. I don't discount that. I don't know if that was it or not, but look, that they're having to pay a lot of money now to lawyers that if they've done, as Eric said, all they would have had to do was reprint a Star Frontiers module every decade, or Gamma World or whatever they still own the rights to. All they had to do was do an omnibus reprint, kind of like they did those really beautiful omnibuses in between 4E and 5E when they did the Dungeons of Dread, and they did the Slave Lords. The really beautiful hardbacks they did. That's all they would have had to do. Classic Star Frontiers. Boom. Here you go.
Make money off material you already have. So those were actually the trilogy of books. The AD&D 1E core books were printed with gold foil, the original print run.
So was Unearthed Arcana, and then.
Oh yeah, and
Unearthed Arcana was also.
And a portion of those monies were donated to. Do you want to guess?
Ouch! I know, but I don't want to say it.
No. Mr. Carter, pick me, Mr. Carter. A portion of the money, which is the bulk of the monies that were raised for this charity, is the memorial fund for Gary.
Oh, well, I'm glad they came out with that, and so the memorial's out, right? And so
No,
because this has been this has been a decade, and what? No, it's not done yet.
But at least Gail is no longer the one that is going to be the one holding it back. Now it's the person who, because of their work for the Gygax estate, brought up. They didn't bring it up, but the fact that they valued the estate at like $500,000 made the children go, "Oh wait, we have a will that we weren't going to bother filing for because we thought it was only worth $50,000 or less, and since it's worth $500,000, we all get a cut now." So, yeah, Paul.
And then, was it so? But anyway, that's all they would have had to do is a nice little reprint book, or not even something that nice, just something along the lines of, "Hey, we're going to reassert our trademark in this arena."
Yeah,
and the warning sign was when Jason came and got the TSR trademark, but was not. He didn't abuse it. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to put out some." He put out Gygax magazine, some other things. That's when they should have stepped in and said, "Oh, you know what? We're lucky that Jason Elliott got it. What if some real dillhole got a hold of this? Just some real absolute
abandoned on the side of the road." And somebody went,
tattooed up weirdo that anti-Semitic white supremacist. What if they got a hold of this? What would? Oh, that won't happen. That's never going to happen. Yeah. And so yes, so they have made several missteps. So I get people all the time. Their argument online is so hilarious. It's that, well, yeah, but look how much money WotC made. That doesn't mean anything. Just because something's popular or it's making a lot of money doesn't. I mean, the Kardashians are making more money than WotC. What does that mean?
Make it good.
No, and my favorite is always that the example I use is that Olivia Newton-John's single "Physical" to this day I think it was in the number one spot for more weeks in a row than any other song in history. Is it the best song in history? It's the best song in history, right, Eric? Physical. Let's get physical. Let me hear your body talk.
Out of that. You're gonna see the two of us.
It's a terrible fucking song. It's awful. And it was number one for like 21 weeks in a row. It doesn't mean anything just because you're popular or you're making money or whatever. It doesn't mean you're putting out a good product. It doesn't mean that things aren't happening. Look, as much money as WotC's made a few years, they're like everybody else. They're suffering from the recession and they've had a downturn in their fortunes. So yeah, that's not an argument. The argument that they're just making so much money that how can you say that they're screwing up? You can still screw up a lot of money. Believe me, there's people that do that all the time. Talk to Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice screwed up having a lot of money. But no, there's a lot of people that's in the way in the Wayback Machine. So yes, that is not. I don't think that's out of the possibility that people who are doing some WotC stuff right now, we're not thinking correctly when it became aware that they probably should own the trademarks, their old trademarks, because exactly the situation that could have happened, right? I mean, somebody who you don't want to be associated with ended up with control of those names.
I'm very glad that
now they probably
will never be out of print.
Hey, it won the Annie Award this year. Come on, man. It's got to be good, right? I mean, it has to. So. We need to have a GoFundMe. We need to have a GoFundMe. Eric and I get to play Thirsty Sword Lesbians. The money goes to charity. Let's open that GoFundMe up.
And the medical treatment afterwards for like the addictions that I'm going to be suffering from. By the way, Kevin,
I will finish. I'll finish this bottle off, and I'll play Thirsty Sword Lesbians. And Eric can use whatever substances he has. And so we need to think about a GoFundMe for that, Eric, because I think we might pass 3-4 digits on that.
Are you saying that for St. Jude's this year, instead of me doing the yoga in the hot pants and stuff, I should be? I mean, all right. Well.
As much as I hate to give up yoga in the hot pants, that mentally scarred me. I think Thirsty Sword Legends would be funnier than mentally scarring, but you never know. I mean, I don't know. We have to find somebody to run it. I don't even know whether it's third.
Oh, I
Thirsty
know.
Sword Lesbian Strikers is one of those games that it's a critical darling, but nobody actually plays it. Anybody actually play it at conventions, or is it just one of those things that everybody just likes because it's cool?
I know who I'd want to run it for us.
Joe the lawyer? No.
Skeeter.
Who?
Skeeter.
Joe? Oh, Skeeter.
No, Skeeter.
Skeeter Green?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in.
That would be, oh my God. Can you imagine Skeeter running that? It would be Amazeballs. So
this is our holiday gift to you. You see us. We're spitballing. We're spitballing ways to make money for you. This is our holiday gift to everybody.
Really, the jump from 4E to 5E was a reaction to, wow, we really screwed up 4E. Remember, 4E, they tried to reboot with the paperback books, the trade paperbacks, which didn't do shit. Excuse me. So then they went to D&D Next. Because what a great code name that was. But Next, and again, folks, another problem with 4E is 4E did not have an OGL. 4E had the game system license.
Right.
And the game system license meant that the average jackass, me, Mike, James Spahn,
right.
Kevin Crawford doesn't use the OGL. But those of us that use the OGL for our publishing couldn't have, because you had to spend thousands of dollars to get your license. And
a little known fact of Frog God Games is that the reason Frog God Games came about is that Necromancer Games was rolling along, making money hand over fist, publishing 3.5 supplements, and then Pathfinder, and then 4E came out, and Clark Peterson and Bill Webb would not pay that money. They were like, we're not going to give them money, because they looked at the game. They said, this game sucks. And Clark Peterson was so disgusted, he left the industry altogether. He just quit. And so Bill was sitting there like Bill didn't want to quit. And so Bill spent the next few years building up the brand name again. He hired Matt Finch to legit him with Swords of Wizardry, and they published Swords of Wizardry and Pathfinder. But they were not going to do 4E. To this day, there is no 4E product by Necromancer or Frog God Games.
It's prohibitive. So 4E was it never really gained traction. I know people will argue, oh, it's a popular system. It wasn't popular like 3E was, and didn't meet the popularity of 5E. But when 5E came about, and so many people forget this, there was no OGL when it got released. There was no SRD. Nope. You were given the basic rules, and the basic rules were there to tell you, hey, look, you just want the SRD because it's free rules. We're giving you free rules. And you don't have to you don't really have to buy the books. You can just play basic rules. And not realizing that people wanted the SRD not because it was free rules, they wanted it because it was a tool for an OGL, and there was no OGL. It took 15 months, and my understanding, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, is that those 15 months were very stressful months at TSR because there were two factions basically fighting it out behind their desks as to who was going to come out ahead, the no OGL for 5E or the OGL for 5E. And I don't know if it was because they knew they couldn't get out enough content, because 5E is thriving not necessarily because the rules are amazeballs. They're good, but it's thriving because of the third-party market. Okay? And when the OGL came out, that third-party market shot up. That's why we have DM's Guild. All right. That's why we have third-party publishers like Frog God Games that does most of their business now in 5E, and Kobold Press, and Goodman Games, and Trollords. All these companies that you associate with old school make the bulk of their core off of 5E. Now, Mike and I have discussed this, and I've discussed this with others. Is there going to be an OGL for 1D&D? And the knowledge that I've been given from people who have connections to those that are, I don't want to say embedded within Woods of the Coast, but certainly are part of that social market as, publishers and creators, is that, again, same argument like 5E had, same argument that 4E had. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't really want to do an OGL because when you do an OGL, you allow all these people to play with your work and you don't get any money back. Aside from the fact that they keep your market alive and are basically doing your work for you without you costing you anything other than printing more books, which is going to make you more money, they're not getting a share. So there's a solution to that. All right. And that's what's going to bring us up to what's going to be most of tonight's topic is the monetization plans for 1D&D. Now, we've already seen how they decided to monetize 5e. How do they monetize? How do you monetize those hundreds, if not thousands, of small publishers that are getting these hits that are gold and adamantium and mithril bestsellers on drive-through, and that money before wasn't going to Wizards of the Coast, and now they're getting a 20%. They're getting almost a quarter out of every dollar that's in the DM's Guild. Why? Why? Because they figured out a way to monetize their restricted IP and make a marketplace. You can go, oh, I know if it's on the DM's Guild, it's quality shit. No, it doesn't mean anything. But it does mean that they can now use, I don't know, a Drow, Illithid, Displacer Beast, these few creatures that
and they can use setting also. They can use setting.
The setting has been published, so now that Spelljammer is out there and Dragonlance is out there. Now you can write material for that, which I'm going to guarantee you is going to be better than the material that Wizards of the Coast put out in reopening these settings, because they're not keeping to the original. They're not keeping to the lore. They're not keeping to the history. They are keeping to what? The fast buck. All right? Mm-hmm. They're hoping that people like Mike and I, old school gamers who don't even play 5e, are going to pick up Dragonlance because it's Dragonlance. And they're not really putting much of an effort into it from what I've been told.
They don't speak. They haven't spoke to us in a while, and they're definitely not. The last time they spoke to us, Eric, was when they came up with those Dungeons of Dread and Slave Lords reprints. That's been a while. They haven't spoken to us in a decade.
No.
They don't really care about us. We're not important.
But here's the thing. They do care about all that money that large publishers like Frog God, like even was published under Necromancer Games and Troll Lords and Goodman.
Green Ronin, Paizo. I mean, there's all these. Yeah.
But anybody who's publishing for 5e who's not publishing under license, Goodman publishes under license. All right, their stuff is reprints and expansions on classic TSR era product. But when it comes to Frog God, I mean, Mike, what kind of a commission does Frog God give to Wizards of the Coast with every sale?
That would be zero, Eric. That would be nothing.
So now, and by the way, for those who don't know or haven't heard, the latest releases, when I say the latest releases, probably the last year of releases from Wizards of the Coast have been kind of lackluster in their response from the community. Am I phrasing that properly, or should I just say that?
Apparently, they're saying, well, the insiders that we know, Eric, have told us the sales are absolutely in the toilet. Now, I have seen posts refuting that, saying, no, that's not true. This. I'm telling you what I've heard from insiders that have no reason. They don't have any bone to pick. They've just told us it flat out. Yeah, the sales are just absolutely awful on the Spelljammer box set, on the last 2 or 3 items that came out first, second quarter, third quarter of 2022 were just awful sales. Once again, this is what we've heard. So,
well, and it's from the same sources that are telling us that for 1D&D, the idea is again no LGO. Now we know that when it comes to D&D 5e, remember that survey from last year, that big huge survey, which 1 out of 10 got the VTT aspect of the survey, which is apparently very important now.
Mm-hmm.
That survey revealed to them that 1 in 5 players, 1 in 5 gamers, 1 in 5, I don't know, of the D&D economy are your DMs. And your DMs buy 80% of your material. Now, when I say 80% of your material, that's 80% of the Wizards of the Coast sales. Those are the numbers they're tracking. Which means your other 80% is buying 20%. All right, I should have said it. It's not 80%. That 20% is buying the majority. It could be 51%. It could be 99%. Man, I hope I'm not coming down with the COVID.
No, not the RSV.
I only say that because my mother has had a head cold since Sunday. It was really bad Monday, and then yesterday, before we were going to go out to our local pub, she's like, "Do you think you can test me for COVID?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, come back in 10 minutes, and she's like, "What did you say? If there's 2 lines on the test strip, it means that you're not pregnant, Mom. It means, yeah, okay." So, needless to say, then I made a trip over to my local Walgreens and got my free 8 test kits for the month. A lot of
can you get? Can I get some more freebies? I haven't got my freebies yet. Okay. How do you do that? How do you just go over and ask for free stuff? Wow. You got
to show your prescription card or health insurance card.
Oh, okay. All right. I might have to do that. I might just load up for the holidays. Happy holidays. Here's a COVID kit for Christmas. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I always have post-nasal trips, so I can never tell. But I tested negative last night. Rich and I tested, but we didn't go out because I was like, well, I did all the testing for my mother. I swabbed the nose. I'm not gonna.
Since COVID, I've been so healthy because we don't go anywhere anymore. My wife and I, we go out to dinner every once in a while. We've been to like 2 movies in the past 2 years, so we don't go anywhere. So I've actually been the healthiest I've ever been in my life last year. And I did have COVID last year, but it lasted for 2 weeks, and now I'm suffering long COVID where I can't taste or smell very good. But other than that, shoot, I'm doing pretty good. By the way, a public service announcement. Can I make a public service announcement? Yeah. I scheduled my colonoscopy, my next one for February. I'm going to urge all you people over a certain age, which usually is about 50, to please schedule and do your colonoscopy. For those that don't know, one of my best friends, Doug Ray, died of stage 4 colon cancer because he did not get his colonoscopy in time. By the time he got it, it was too late. He was at stage 4. And so I had mine when I turned 50, and I urged him and beat him down and told him to get it. He wouldn't do it. Finally got it later on, and it was just too late. So please schedule your colonoscopy, people. This is a public service announcement from Mike's colon, and hopefully it will.
And it speaks loudly to you.
Well, I will tell you, I went in last October, and I had 7 polyps, which is more than they like to see. So they said, sorry, instead of having to wait 3 to 5 years, guess what? You got to come in next year. And I said, okay, because I'm not going to mess around with this. This is something you can't mess around with. So please go and do your colonoscopy stuff if you have to. This has been a public service announcement. So
Mike Bartolotto. I'm not.
But it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. Eric and I both know somebody who passed away from colon cancer, and it's no joke. It's not a joke at all. So please get this done. So but anyway, so I'm proud of myself. What got that done? Finally got that done today.
Zach says he thought of you when he had his.
I'm going to be thinking about you when I have my next one. How's that? Maybe you could be there and hold my hand as I go under. That would be wonderful, Zach. Too. I'd really appreciate that.
Hold my hand. Hold my hand.
Hold my hand as I go under. Well, your wife's in the room. No, I don't want my wife to hold my hand. I want Zach to hold my
hand. But here's this is again. We call this rumors, even though we know the source, because we can't name the source, but our source is legit.
Rock hard, rock solid, not rock hard, rock solid. I'm rock hard. I mean,
as Professor Dungeon Master was nice enough to say on one of his videos, if Tenkar talks about stuff and says it's a rumor that I can confirm, but I can't name it, so I'm calling it a rumor. He goes, he's talking the truth. Now, it doesn't mean that it's just what's going to happen, because we are a year and a half out of release from one D&D, and things can obviously change. But we have things that are obvious, because things are already in the works of what they're planning. And what they're planning is not going to be very supporting of the brick and mortar stores. Now, before I delve into that, a lot of your third-party publishers, not Frog God, but some others, mostly independent ones, do what they call brick and mortar. But it's you buy a physical copy and then you can download a PDF copy later. Usually with Frog God, if you're buying stuff at like a convention, they'll tell you, reach out to me, we'll give you a PDF copy. It's similar to that. But no, Wizards of the Coast is not doing that with physical locations. They're telling you now, hey, you want that D&D Beyond version of Dragonlance? Well, hey, you can get your Dragonlance 2 weeks early. You can get your D&D Beyond 2 weeks before release. You get the digital content as long as you pre-order the bundle through us. Well, and first off, by the way, that bundle is not a free add-on. That bundle, if the digital content would have been 20, now it's 10. You're still paying more, but you're getting the stuff 2 weeks early. And what is a big thing about our society these days? Nobody has patience for shit.
No, nobody wants to wait for anything. No.
I order from Amazon now, and I can get Amazon to deliver to me between the hours of 3 and 7 a.m. I can have my package waiting for me on my doorstep when I wake up in the morning to take a piss.
The new iPhone's coming out. I'm going to wait in line for 3 weeks and can't put a tent there because I got to be the first one on my block to get the new iPhone. Even though it's not that much different from the last iPhone. But I still got to have the new one. So I'm going to wait there. I'm going to wait there in line in the cold.
So, I mean, that is a reality. They're selling these bundles now, and they're encouraging. This is part of their future way of making the most of their property. They're cutting out the middleman. They're not paying the lowered. You're not getting paid a lower price. You're paying full retail, as opposed to them selling to a distributor that then sells to your local friendly game store. So do you think friendly game stores, your local game stores, are going to do well? I think that's already a horrible market. It sucks to run any retail environment, especially one where the publisher is not going to be helping you. They want that. So now when the virtual tabletop comes out, I can guarantee you, this is no inside information. Nobody told me this. This is my observation. The virtual tabletop content is going to be part of that bundle. Your new minis, your new maps, all that stuff. Why buy it from, I don't know, the Complete Strategist in Manhattan when I can get my material, start playing with it 2 weeks before everybody else, be that cool 40-year-old kid in the block, and have it all mailed to me. I don't have to go out anywhere. That tells you Wizards of the Coast is not concerned about community. They're not concerned about having good business partners. They're concerned about the bottom line. They're a corporation. They're supposed to be concerned about that. But I hate people. Well, you don't know they're going to do that. You know what? They're doing it right now. They're doing it right now. This is just a prelude.
This has been moving to a pay to play model for a while. And look, this is nothing different than a lot of stuff in our society, especially online stuff. I play Xbox games. Yeah, I'm a cool kid. I'm a cool 60-year-old kid. So I play some Xbox games, and they have, you've got basically pay to play with those because you can buy them. Like for instance, let's say Fallout. I have Fallout 76. You can play Fallout 76. You can play the whole game. Whatever. You don't have to spend another cent. Once you buy the game, you're done. However, if you want to buy these things called add-on points, you can buy new outfits. You can buy new weapons. You can buy new skins for your weapons. You can buy new shelters. There's all kinds of cool. There's thousands of items you can buy. You can buy these special kits that give you more experience. You can buy special kits that you open during combat. They give you bonuses. You buy this stuff. So they have the initial purchase. They're doing okay, but they're making, and this is every game system. This isn't just Fallout or Call of Duty, whatever. They all do this. All the shooter games do this. Fortnite, all of those. PUBG. Right. you get the people in, and then you rely on other purchases to make you extra money. And so, yes, of course, WotC's been looking at this and saying, why can't we do that? Everybody does that. And nobody screams about it. Nobody screams that, yeah, there's some people that do, like, oh, you paid for your, look what you bought. Because I see people, they'll be wearing a skin, and people make fun of them. Oh, you must have bought some atoms to get that, because you can't just get that. Well, yeah, but who cares? It doesn't affect gameplay. It just affects the fact they can wear a special outfit. But WotC's been watching this for years. They have people that work in the computer industry that work for WotC. They have Microsoft employees there now. This is all moving.
They're the top, as the president, I think the vice president, I think their chief financial officer now are all Microsoft people. Which chief financial officer knows how these subscriptions come in? What's the biggest complaint about Microsoft these days? I hear from, I'm not a Microsoft person. I use Windows, but I'm a Mac guy now. But what complaint do you always hear? Oh, Microsoft Office, man, you got to get a subscription to it now. I got to pay for it every year.
Yeah. Word's the same way now. Word's the same way. They're all all their systems are exactly like that.
But by the way, folks, I'm going to give you all a minute or two to make sure you get a recent comment up, and then we're going to do some of the giveaways.
Ooh.
All right.
That's right. Just giving away some goodies here.
Give it away now.
Oh dear. You can do that. I'm going to start singing Christmas carols. We're going to do some karaoke tonight. How's that sound?
Oh my God. Rachel's in the shower.
It's the holiday season. No. So anyways, this is moving towards the inevitable, which is that, yes, you are going to be paying for D&D. If you want to play one D&D. Now, here, I'm going to go into depth about what my outlook in this. And my outlook, I don't go in depth. My outlook is RPG games are one of the very few things you can buy that you never need to buy anything ever again. As long as you have the rule book, you're set. You don't need anything else. Now, is it cool to have all the extra stuff? Of course it is. I have 75 boxes in my upstairs bedroom of extra stuff because I like the supplements and the atlases and the adventures, and I like all that stuff. I love all that extra stuff, the fold out buildings, the maps, whatever. But you don't need any of that.
No.
And so for me, it doesn't change my life at all. It won't change my life one bit. One D&D has absolutely zero effect on my existence. But if you're playing 5e, you're going to have to make a choice in the next couple of years. And that's based on your gaming style. That's based on your style of gaming and what you do and what you want out of gaming.
Well, but there's even more to it than that now, because remember with the VTT, because they saw the numbers that were going to Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, and guess what? Let's say this again, folks. They're playing D&D on Roll20. They're not getting a share of that money. No. They're playing it on Fantasy Grounds. They're not getting a share of that money. Maybe they're going to get a share when somebody buys a rule set. But now, without further ado, we're going to give away some prizes. Then we'll go back to this conversation, because the VTT is where I think a lot of monetization is going to go, or come from, I should say.
All right.
So we're going to do a share screen. Look at that. The giveaway tool.
Cliffhanger.
All right.
Oh.
What?
When they call me a tool, is that they shouldn't have that giveaway. They just call me a tool.
You have a tool. Mm-hmm. All right. So everybody who's commenting like the last couple of minutes, I don't know.
All right.
5-10 minutes.
Oh God! Of course, there's Jen Jen Glazer jumps in. So, Jen Glazer jumped in, so she gets free stuff. Yeah.
All right, so we are going to start with the $10. Now, I believe, and if I'm wrong on this one, the guys over at Arduin, since they're giving away a dozen maps, I believe that the maps can be shipped international. If not, I will pay for the first one, because if we get international winner.
Oh, nice.
All right, here we go.
So the gift certificate. We're giving away $10 gift certificate first.
$10 gift certificate is the first thing. We're going to give away everything at one shot. But then we're going to go back to talking about
let's do it.
D&D 1.
Yes.
This is going for the $10 gift certificate. We got 17 entries.
Oh boy! Oh, here comes
And look through.
Oh, Emperor's Choice games. Yes,
no, they deserve to get something back because they're one of our.
They do. They're giving a lot, so they're getting some stuff back. They can go buy something they don't own. They can go buy some non-Arduin. So Emperor's Choice says they do ship internationally.
All right. So, George, you know how to reach out to me. Listen, get some funds. Oh, you son of a! All right. He says reroll.
Oh.
All right, still for the $10 gift certificate. Big money, and
come on, bad Mike.
Oh
no!
All right, that should be a reroll, but it won't be. Jen, he's only here because it's free shit, and she always wins the free shit. She
does. This is ridiculous.
All right.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Hey, OSR refrigerator magnet. All right.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I'll take that. All right.
We're gonna draw again.
Oh, I can't win anything. Crap!
You can't win anything.
Damn it!
I can talk to Thad. We'll see, but you can't win anything. Wild
die word.
So
the OSR kitchen magnet.
Here. Let me put.
Hopefully, you have something to be able to put. You have a refrigerator or a stove. You can put a kitchen magnet on.
So, I put my email address up there. Email me the winners so far there with OSR Christmas Day 1 and what you won. Because don't expect me to be remembering all this stuff. All right. So what else is?
Well, should I give away? Let's give away the North Texas package. That way I can mail it out. I'm going to be mailing that myself.
Like yours is the big
we're getting mail. I'm sorry. There's an order here. I didn't know there's any order.
Shadow Dark PDFs by James Mishler. We are giving away one a day.
Oh, I want to win that. Oh, I'd love to win that. Oh, I can't win. Damn it.
You can't win that.
Whoever wins it, let me know. Talk to me.
Talk to him.
Call me.
Any.
James Mishler stuff's awesome. What? Again? What is she gonna do with a bunch of PDFs?
Give it to Zach. That's okay. That's
Oh yeah, that's right. Zach can get it.
All right.
This is like Zach having 2 entries. This is like Zach winning twice.
Yes. Now we're gonna do an Arduin map, and then we'll do the big bag of goodies.
All
right. It's an Arduin map. Big money. No whammies. No Jennifer.
What a bunch of crap.
You see the screen, Mike?
Wait, did you roll again?
Yes.
That was the roll?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Jennifer, you're going to be banned further. Jennifer, you're going to be requesting 3 prizes. I've got.
Yeah, 3's our limit. 3's the limit. She won 3. She's out.
You've maxed out. Good. You can't get them.
You maxed out
your Bad Mike special. Bad Mike special, by the way, is US.
She'd love to get the Bad Mike special.
Bad
Mike special.
We're half a family.
She knows where to go to get. She knows where to go to get the Bad Mike special. She knows exactly where to get that.
All right, this is
I did.
Bad Mike's bag of miscellany.
North Texas Publications 5 Adventures backpack and art booklet. And Jennifer can't win.
Jennifer can't win if we get Jen. She's a reroll.
Reroll. All right, let's do it.
This is a
big money. Big money. Money.
She's 1 in 17. So somebody figure out the odds. No.
Reroll. Sorry.
She's a 1 in 17
She's
chance.
Not winning everything.
3 out of 4 times.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something wrong with this.
No.
She keeps popping up her name. This is really.
Rob
Banks. Okay, Rob wins the North Texas package. Rob sends your information to tankarstavern@gmail.com, and he will send me the information, and I will get that in the mail to you. So just send it into Tenkar, and Tenkar just send me that when you get that information. It's easier to do it that way than for me to give you mine. Just go ahead and send it to Tenkar since it's up on the screen right now.
Yep.
And I will send you Rob Banks. I will send you the North Texas package.
That was a lot of fun. I love giving away shit.
Yeah, we gave it all to Jen. So I mean,
all right, well, not as much fun as it could have been.
I wasn't going to send her the stuff anyway. Even if she wanted, I wasn't going to send her my stuff.
I told her to pick it up herself.
Yeah, she can just come over to the warehouse and grab her own copy.
You don't get any of this.
So anyway, this is going to be going on for the next week or so. You're going to be.
Oh no, this is going to be going on for like the next couple of weeks because.
Oh, that's right.
It's 12 days of OSR Christmas.
12 days.
I can guarantee you, I am not going to be done by the end of the year. I always have to skip a day or two. Shit comes up. So OSR Christmas and Three Kings Day.
It's not the 7 days. It's the 12 days, of course.
It's the 12 days of Christmas, and then.
ZWiki says, "Are those North Texas models available retail anywhere?" Yes. If you are interested, contact me. I have the copies. The money goes straight to North Texas RPG Con. Does not go to me. But yes, they are. If you know me on Facebook, contact me on Facebook. If not, send the information to badmike3@aol.com. Don't make jokes about AOL. Sorry. And I will try to. I will get you a price. The items run about $20 a piece, $15-$20 a piece, and all the profits go to North Texas. So.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody not named Jen. I know Jen. I'm going. I missed it, Jen. I see you said re-roll for the last one. It's too fucking late. I missed it. So Zach will give me your information. I have it. I probably have it with the Christmas card, but God knows.
You can always give it to somebody else, Jen. I mean, you know lots of people in the game industry. You can give it out yourself.
Yeah.
But
I want to see that map up though behind Zach next time we have him on the stream. I want to see that.
I guess you will because unless Jen, why don't you sell it to Zach? It truly belongs to you, not him. So you need to sell. You need to have him. You need to sell it to him for a little extra cash.
So we're gonna now return to our regular scheduled programming.
Oh yes.
So when we look at the DMs Guild, they are getting 20%. We believe they're getting a 20% cut of, or it could be 25, but they're getting a significant cut of the DMs Guild properties. But if you publish in the DMs Guild, you're only getting 50 cents on the dollar. The rest of your money is being split by One Bookshelf and Wizards of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast, yeah.
Well, now Wizards of the Coast is going to be coming out with their own VTT. It's going to be Unreal Engine 99 or whatever the fuck it is. It's going to be 3D. It's going to be impressive. Well, folks, this might have gone under the radar for most people, but Roll20, the largest VTT on the market, merged with another company. One Bookshelf.
Oh.
Go figure that out. Remember, One Bookshelf used to support their own VTT. What was it? It was always Astral was always advertised. Well, no, they merged with Roll20. Now, do you think when we get to the release of 1D&D with their VTT, which I suspect will release late, won't release on time, but we'll get one. Do you think that when Wizards of the Coast releases their VTT, that they're going to allow their material to still be used on Roll20? And do you think they still want to give half of their potential profits off of your work to One Bookshelf?
Why would they? There's no point in that.
So, my belief, and now this is no inside information. This is me reading the tea leaves. I am not going to say I heard this from a source that I can't mention. My belief, reading the tea leaves and what I see, because they know the DMs Guild makes them money and it is evergreen. So either they take the DMs Guild with them or they somehow get a deal with Drive-Thru. That Drive-Thru still handles it. They don't get the same cut they were going to get. And I would guess that they wouldn't be allowed to sell Roll20 modifications for it. But this isn't just spitballing, because if there is talk about not releasing an SRD or an OGL, you could have a license that is limited to the DMs Guild. And therefore, you keep all your minor, smaller third-party material underneath the DMs Guild. Wizards of the Coast get a cut of it all. No third-party publishing, just to the regular drive through the market. Yeah, I got to go through DM's Guild. You got to pay unto Caesar what is Caesar, and pay unto God what is God. Well, you're gonna Wizards of the Coast is gonna take the godlike status and say you're paying us. So that covers, and there'll be a specific license. It won't be the OGL, but there'll be. I've heard that there will be an SRD. I've heard rumors of an SRD.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But not an OGL. Well, if you don't have one but the other, then you need a different license. And if that license is, you must publish underneath the auspices of the DM's Guild. It makes sense to have an SRD. Anybody in the DM's Guild can work off of. All right. Mm-hmm. But you know who's not going to publish within the DM's Guild? Frog God Games, Troll Lord, all these, Cobalt Press. So these companies are going to, in my guesstimation, I like that word, guesstimation. In my guesstimation, it's going to be a game system license for the larger companies, and it may be pay per title, it may be pay per year. It's definitely not going to be a lifetime license. You're not going to pay us $5,000 and you get a lifetime of. It may be every year you got to pay us, I don't know, $2,500 to get your 5e license. So you better be sure what you can, as a larger publisher who the enclosed marketplace, because the GM's Guild won't allow you to sell physical product elsewhere. You won't be doing your own mail order. You'd need that license for larger corporations, larger companies. This to me is quite possible, quite logical. I'm spitballing, but it seems to me what we are seeing, what they are doing. If they weren't doing their own VTT, I might be like, but their own VTT and Roll20 and OBS joining forces. Now, I've heard, and my source wasn't great on this, but I heard that the possible reason for that is that Roll20 was trying to avoid a buyout from Wizards of the Coast, and that they have more independence as a joint entity with one bookshelf. I don't know about that. That's like that'd be me spitballing, but it's of all possibilities, it's certainly a possibility. But now, Mike, I tossed the ball at you and I catch up.
First of all, Fugly, thank you for the dice.
Yes,
the die, it was awesome. I showed my brother. He loved it. So yes, thank you very much.
It makes a nice rattling sound. Mm-hmm. Zach also points out that Wizards of the Coast also gets your IP if you publish to the DM's Guild.
It's insane to publish the DM's Guild. I know people do it, and I understand the reasons why, but it doesn't make any sense. I don't believe in giving my hard-earned work to somebody else to make profit off of.
Here's the thing, and I'll explain to you as it was explained to me by somebody who does this a lot better than I do, Rob Conley. If you want to hear, the DM's Guild does not own your work; you own your work. However, they have a license to your work that is pretty much never ending. So if you publish on the DM's Guild, you publish Tenkar's Miraculous Tavern for 5e, I can't publish that outside the guild, and I can't publish a variation of it outside the guild. So I can't publish an OSR version. I can't publish a Pathfinder version. I couldn't publish I don't know, a RuneQuest version or a basic roleplay version or a systemless version. It is stuck in that market. Now, I can take it out of the market, not a problem, but I can't put it anywhere else.
Yeah.
At any time. Also, they have the right to take your work and republish it. Now, they should, if they want to be a good neighbor, a good business partner, pay you for that. But you don't get to negotiate what you get paid for it. They make you an offer and they say, hey, we're using your work in our next product, and here's your check.
So here would be a reason to do it if you thought this. So I know some people who are very good writers who have written for DM's Guild with the possibility that if it sells enough and is popular enough, WotC will publish it for real publish it.
Right.
In that case, you might find yourself in for a few bucks and for maybe a contract. maybe a job. I don't know. I mean, it depends how good it is. A lot of people are driven by that. Now, how many items have actually gone for DM's Guild to be full published? I don't know if any have, but there's that possibility there. And so I think a lot of people kind of dream about that. Like, hey, I'm going to publish something that's going to be so good. It's going to sell so many copies that Watsy's going to look at it and notice and say, this is some good stuff. And they're going to publish. I'll give you an example of where that's happened. Chaosium has a licensing program. Ben Burns, I know, publishes his stuff under that. I had a few other friends. So for a while, they had what were called monographs. Monographs were, you sent them an idea, they published it in a really cheap, like almost like a photocopied form. And they sold, I think they printed like 150, 250, 500 copies. And then once they sold it out, you got a flat fee. You just got like $500 for this idea. They would decide whether or not it should be published as a regular product. I have a really good friend of mine named Jason who had he published something called Mysteries of Tibet as a monograph. He was paid $500 for it. They put it out in this photocopied form. It sold out immediately. They did another print run, sold out immediately. They did a third print run, sold out immediately. At that point, they said, okay, guess what? We're going to publish this as a real Chaosium book. And so he was able to sign a contract like a regular writer. He was able to make some new contributions to it. It's like the best of all possible worlds for a guy that doesn't really write that much, right? Because he can look at Chaosium and see his product on the shelf now. Chaosium, Mysteries of Tibet. So that I think is the best. That's what you would want to happen, right? You want to be able to publish something. It's so popular that they're going to say, wow, this is so great. We have to publish under our name. Eric, I don't know that Watsy does that. I mean, can you think of any fan published product that's made it professionally published?
No, but there's some fan published product on DM's Guild.
Yes.
Which is professional quality material. Now, if they control, if you think about it, the other argument I've heard, and listen, we're all gamers. Well, if 6E is backwards compatible to 5E, then I can still publish for 6E just using the 5E OGL and RCRD. Backwards compatible does not mean that it's forward compatible.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that people are going to look at your material coming out for 5E and go, oh, that's like somebody writing for 1E during the 2E era, right? Or you're writing for what happened with third edition material when 3.5 came out? How many different IPs literally crashed and burned? Mm-hmm. I believe Midnight was one. There was, it was a quasi space game with dragons and ships and all that.
Right, I'm not sure about I
can't remember the name. I loved it.
There were some that updated. I know. For instance, Midnight updated. Midnight did update to 3.5, but it was it wasn't exactly because they changed some really basic stuff about 3E and 3.5 because there was some stuff that didn't work. Right. There were some spells that were overpowered. There was some, especially the spells. That was the big problem. They had some spells that were absolutely overpowered in 3.0 that they fixed in 3.5. So yes, wasn't. But see, it's much like like you said, first edition, second edition is a great example. Second edition, the magic missile spell is totally different from a lot of it's the same as first edition, but you only get 5 magic missiles. In first edition AD&D, you get as many magic missiles at one every other level. So if you're 25 levels, you get 12 magic missiles, whatever. So But you could still, it's recognizable. In other words, you could still play it. It's just not going to give you the same bang for the buck. They did change the spell. Yes, you would be able to recognize what's going on, but you're not going to be able to do exactly what they are doing with
nobody who plays 6E is going to want to buy content written for 5E in a 6E market. It's just what it comes down to. So it's not going to be the same game. Can you link them? I'm sure. And does Wizards of the Coast immediately want to invalidate all of their prior published material? Well, I expect that a lot of their stuff that was published for 5e is going to get updated on the DM.
Well, Eric, they just announced a new Tyranny of Dragons is coming out. They're updating and reprinting Tyranny of Dragons, so that they can reprint whatever they want to reprint and come out. And so that's part and parcel of the whole process. They can just easily redo it and say, okay, we're going to republish Tyranny of Dragons for 1 D&D. What's the Minds of Fendalvin or whatever that freaking module is? They could say, "Yep, we're doing an updated version for 1 D&D." I mean, that's not an issue at all.
Yeah. By the way, coming to the DM's Guild, Marcelo makes a very good point. DM's Guild only makes sense if you want to publish an adventure based on a campaign world that's been opened by Wizards.
Our buddy Alex Kamer, that's one of the reasons he used it. He wanted to publish an adventure in the Forgotten Realms. He loves the Forgotten Realms. It's his favorite campaign world. And he, the man's a very intelligent lawyer, and he knew what the deal was, right, going in. But he just wanted to publish something for Forgotten Realms. And so, he did something for, he's done stuff for DM's Guild. Knowing full well what we just talked about here, that he's not going to own it. He's not really going to own it.
The DM's Guild, you don't have to stick to the open game license. The DM's Guild, you can use those restricted IP beholder.
You can find beholders, yes.
You don't have to name it like an eye creature.
Right.
You can actually name it the beholder because you're playing within the sandbox that is owned by Wizards of the Coast. You're within their parameters.
I'm going to disagree with some of the people commenting right now, and I'll just tell you. And so I see a few people say, "Well, this is going to kill 5e." And I think you even mentioned, Eric, like, "Well, nobody that plays 6e is going to play 5e." You know what? This didn't kill 4.0 did not kill 3.5, and I'm not talking about just Pathfinder. I know people to this day that still play 3.5. They never. Now, is it a gigantic market? I don't know what the answer to that would even be. But the success of Pathfinder can show that there may be enough people left behind from 5e that do the thing that happens every edition. Every time an edition change. Well, I got all the books right here, and I like this system. I'm not going to change it.
Right.
I mean, to this day, you find people that still play 1e, that still play 2e, that play every old edition. And 5e being the most popular edition of the game that was ever published, you're going to have more people than for any other edition that are not going to want to switch over. That are just going to say, nope, we're just going to still play 5e. We're not going to switch over. And then the reason is because every edition has those people that are not going to play. So I don't know that it's going to kill 5e. I mean, kill it in what regard? That nobody's ever going to play it again? I don't think that's true. I think you'll see people play it quite a bit.
Well, I mean, you can look on, you used to be able to look up on Roll20 and look at the OR report and see the numbers of who's playing what systems, what percentages, but there hasn't been an OR report in well over a year. And I suspect, no one's had information, folks. This is me spitballing. I suspect it's because the numbers have dropped significantly as COVID has retreated significantly. Right. And people are no longer, have the spare time to game as much as they were doing. And more people are playing in person. So VTTs, which when 1D&D was, I'm sure, on the design stage, the initial brainstorming stage, we need our own VTT. Look at the numbers that Roll20 is doing. Those should be our numbers. Well, those numbers are withdrawn because the reports were very
there was a big article about a few months back about how online D&D play has dropped precipitously, and that's because the guy writing the article, I wish I didn't. I'm not prepared to talk about this, but the guy writing the article was talking about how during the height of the pandemic, he was playing in 3 online D&D campaigns because he didn't have a job. There's nothing to do all day. You're online. You get online. And not only that, but more people than ever played D&D that had never played before. They were just bored. They were sitting at home bored out of their skull. And your friend calls and says, hey, you want to play D&D this afternoon? Yeah, I want to do something. And so you get online, you talk to people, you roll dice, you have fun. Well, guess what happens? Months later, You can go outside again. You can watch sporting events. You can go do stuff. You don't feel that need to do something that you weren't that interested in anyway. So this guy in the article, he continues on telling how slowly, bit by bit, they started losing players, and then one campaign shut down, then the other campaign shut down, then they're down to one campaign, then that campaign started losing players until finally the DM called that one a wrap too. So that's just the nature of what happened after, we had to come out with the COVID vaccine, is that people were, okay, yeah, I can go out and do stuff again. I don't have to stay at home and play this game that I play online. So any numbers they have that refer back to the last 2 years are going to be wonky. They're going to be really wonky.
Well, L has a point here. Of the 13 million D&D Beyond accounts, only 39,000 took the one D&D survey. Well, first off, I mean, most people don't like taking surveys, but I'll guarantee you, of those 13 million D&D Beyond accounts, at least I'll be generous to Wizards of the Coast, and I'll say at least a quarter. I would say close to half are probably dead accounts. People.
Sure.
And you make an account, and then you come back to it a year later. You forgot you made your account. You can't remember what email you used, so you can't even reset your password. And you make a new account, and these accounts don't expire. It's kind of like Twitter, right? How many fake accounts does Twitter have? And they weren't all fake accounts that are for number wise, because people are bots. People have multiple accounts.
I had a friend that had 5 Twitter accounts because he kept forgetting his password, and so he just started another Twitter account. Yeah. Like, okay, time for Z-Boy 3, Z-Boy 4, Z-Boy 5, just because he was forgetting his account. Look, you have all, they're not all bots. Some of them are just fake, just accounts that just got forgotten about.
ZWiki, you apparently forgot the scans of the PDFs before they did the Great Purge. When Wizards of the Coast decided to do the Great Purge of all their products from one bookshelf. Right. You had like 48 hours to download, because you couldn't even access what you had purchased. Okay, so if you didn't have a downloaded copy, you were shit out of luck. And the copies that were up, honestly, you would have gotten much better copies via piracy than you.
I think I still have some of those, Eric, because back in 2000, 2001, when they did this, I bought a lot of those because I wanted to have this stuff scanned. And so I bought a lot of them. And some of the copies were, you're right, they were terrible, absolutely awful quality. And I was glad I had them, though, at the time, because I don't know when the Great Purge came. Was it 2005, 6? I don't remember what year. But yeah, they took them. They were gone for a long time. You couldn't find any, because they were going to protect themselves from piracy. Because obviously, if they took it down, nobody was ever going to be able to pirate into their products, right? So,
well, do you remember prior to the merge, before Drive-Thru and RPG Now became one company? Drive-Thru used to give away a free PDF every week. And one week it was Gamma World, but it was the Gamma World was published under license by God, I can't remember the name of the company. They were the same company that Necromancer was a label of for a while. But you could get a copy of Gamma World, but it was a locked copy of Gamma World. This is when they were trying to do locked PDFs.
Right.
My God, whatever happened to that, right? It was supposed to be a protection against privacy. That went out the window.
Boy, that was a mess, too. Yeah, it was stupid. It was really dumb. They would try to put watermarks in there or try to figure out ways that you couldn't copy it. And I remember one of the dumbest things that pissed me off was there's a band I really liked, and I can't remember, a British band. And you could download their music, but it was locked. So if you downloaded it to one computer, you couldn't copy those files or do anything. And I remember how that would piss me off, but there was a way around it. The way around it was you burned a CD of it, and then you took that CD and unburned it, and then took that CD and put it on the computer, right. Which really is not that many steps you want to get around to it. But I just remember being so pissed off that music was locked, because I bought that music and now it's locked to that computer. So all I did was I just burned a CD and then than download that CD. But still, it pissed me off because I'm like, why are they locking this shit? This piracy's out there. You're not going to stop piracy. Anything, and Zach can tell you this, anything Frog God publishes is out in the wild within 48 hours. I mean, it just is. Everything is. Everything's out in the wild in 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's just part of the cost of doing business.
Exactly. Hyperlinks and other digital options are way underused. You're right.
Yes.
I didn't really appreciate hyperlinks until I started reading my PDFs on tablets. And once I started doing that, then I was like, I don't want to do this. And keep on scrolling my fucking finger. Because when we're reading my PDF on my side screen, I can just up and down and scan through 30 pages in half a second. But hyperlinks make things so much easier.
Oh yes, but they're a little bit difficult to do, but they're not that difficult. I know that Zach can tell you this too. Is Frog God has upped the battle for hyperlinks. We're trying to hyperlink almost all our products if they're not already hyperlinked because the fans love it. I mean, it's just something that's very useful and fans love it. So why not? If it takes a little extra work, sure, but it's something that makes the PDF so much more useful.
God damn, this chat's is way too chatty.
Yeah, people are too chatty. You guys need to be going. You need to go holiday shopping. Should I put my Christmas list up so people can go buy me stuff?
Well, so now, as a side note, my most popular video I ever did, which got over 30,000 views, was when I did a video about the Trove and the Trove being taken offline.
Remember that? Yes. Yeah, that was huge. A little bit of history for people who don't know what the Trove was, Eric. You want to throw that out there?
Well,
maybe some people that don't know.
You want to carry that, Mike? Go ahead.
Well, the Trove was basically it was a hush hush place people talked about in hushed tones that anything that you wanted was there in PDF form. It was highly illegal. Everything absolutely illegal. But if something came out within about 48 to a week, it would be up on the Trove. And so everything was there. Now, there was probably some really obscure stuff that didn't make it to the Trove because I know because I would troll the Trove or I would troll through there sometimes looking for really hard to find stuff that I didn't have copies of. But it just depended on who. It's kind of like back in the old days when they used to do what's that thing when you uploaded stuff and other people could download it? It was really big for a while and everybody was crazy about it. It was
like a torrent or something like that.
Yeah, torrent, big torrent. It's like BitTorrent. It was like BitTorrent. BitTorrent was huge for a while, and I will admit I use BitTorrent quite a bit. I'm not ashamed of doing that either. See, I'm the type of person you want to copy something because if I copy something, I go buy it. Then I just want to see if I like it, or especially the music. If I really like music, I used to do a BitTorrent of it. Oh, I like that a lot, so I'd go out and buy the CD. I'm not a person just to use stuff for free, whatever, but I like free samples just to see if I like it. And the same thing with PDFs. I mean, if I look at a PDF, if it's something I like, I'll go buy it. Because, like for instance, the giant mega dungeon that came out, Arden Vol. I'm going to eventually buy that. I have the PDF of it, but it's just too good. I'm eventually going to have to buy the 5-volume giant S.
I have to read it because I have the volume.
What I've read of it, it's really good, Eric. But it is very dense and requires a lot of effort to read through it. It is dense, but it's good. So I'll eventually buy it someday because I appreciate, Joe Browning and all those guys and the author putting that stuff out. I really appreciate it. But yeah, the Trove was the BitTorrent of all BitTorrents. It had everything D&D up on there, and I'm actually surprised it lasted as long as it did. But it wasn't something that people talked about a lot on forums. They tried to keep it hush hush because nobody wanted to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, right? Nobody wanted to get rid of the Trove because that's where everything was. But there was a lot of creative types that weren't appreciative of the Trove, right? Because obviously I'm going to go buy this by Lloyd Metcalf. Oh wait, I'll just go to the Trove and download a free copy. I'm not going to give Lloyd any money at all. So there was a lot of that going on too.
I mean, I went to the Trove, but I went to the Trove to find stuff that was way out of print. It's like, I don't.
Basically, me too. Yeah.
I'm not looking to spend $500 on something that is this old and I'll probably never use. But I want an idea. as a historical perspective of what was out there.
Anything that I downloaded off the Trove, it's something that there was not one single person on earth that's making any money from it. It's something that was out of print for 30 or 40 years. Nobody has the rights to it. Nobody cares about it, or if they have the rights, they're not publishing it. And that's the only things I ever downloaded from the Trove. I would never download something popular or recent or something that just came out, because I don't like doing that to authors. Authors work hard for their stuff. So yes, that was the Trove, and it was a when it came down, it was tears all around. A lot of people, because they hadn't been look. Unless I have to tell you this, which is part of also what you have to consider about 1D&D, gamers are cheap. They really are. You wouldn't think gamers are cheap, but they are. Not everybody's Steve Getty or Zach Glazer out there with just $100 bills, lighting cigars with them. Most gamers are very cheap, and they don't like to spend a lot of extra money on stuff. And so, yes, they use those free BitTorrent or download sites. God, I'm aging myself when I say BitTorrent. They use those sites, and this is one of the reasons I think is going to be an issue with 1D&D. I think you're going to have a small, very dedicated audience of people that are probably going to buy everything you put out, or are going to be your main customers. But man, I just don't see Joe Average Gamer spending a lot of money on something like that. That they may buy a subscription, because like you said, Eric, people buy subscription stuff and they forget about it, and then, oh wait, I'm being charged $20 a month for what? On my card? Oh shoot, I should have canceled this 3 years ago. Oh well, I don't want to cancel because I might play D&D again. There's always those people, right? There's always those people out there but I just don't think you're. Look, my grandson. By the way, my grandson is he enlisted in the Air Force, and he's going to report on Monday.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I'm we're very proud of him. But I was going to say, before he left, or the last couple weeks, he's been going through canceling all his subscriptions and stuff, because he's subscribed to all this stuff, Xbox Live,
right?
All the different PS3. PS5, whatever. He's finding all this crap that he forgot he was paying on for the last 3 years. I'm like, yes, you need to go through every once in a while and clean this shit out, because this is what happens is you're getting charged, there's a workout place on there that I was paying $10 a month for the last 2 years and he hasn't been. Well, of course, you forget about stuff like that. So there's a part of WotC that counts on that, that counts on the fact that subscription-based models, that's a big part of their business. Is that you get a subscription, and it's either you use it, or you use it for a while and forget about it, or you get it and it's aspirational and you never use it. Much like health club memberships. Health club memberships, they rely on a lot of people. Look, the big thing in health club memberships right now is to charge a small fee. Let's say $10 a month, because if you see that on your credit card, even if you're not working out, you probably won't cancel it because you think you're going to work out someday. And you're like, $10 isn't a lot. I'll just keep that in my card. But because if it's $75, you're going to cancel it, right? Oh, I haven't been to the gym in 6 months. I'm canceling it. $10, that's not too bad. I don't know what WotC is going to do, but if they're smart, that's the kind of thing they would do. Is to say, look, we're going to sign you up, have your whatever your upfront fee is, and you have a continuing fee of $5 a month, $15. I don't know.
I would say the price point is going to have to be kind of like that price point for buying a PDF. Like a PDF of $4.99 or less, most people don't even blink. You hit 10 and people start doing that math in their head. I'm like, am I getting value? But if you keep that price point at like $4.99, but here's the thing, and I suspect, again, I have to say, no inside information is, I suspect you will have an option to play, like kind of like with Fantasy Grounds or Roll20. The DM can like Fantasy Grounds, you can go in and get the DM account with, I have the full GM account, and I can have 6 free accounts link up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume that there's going to be something like that. There's not going to be, I don't think there's going to be a lifetime account opportunity.
Right.
I have that on Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds. I don't really use Fantasy Grounds, but I have used Roll20 enough. But I have a lifetime account from the Kickstarter. That is awesome. I got more than my money's worth. But when Wizards of the Coast comes out with their VTT, something that people have to remember too, is this going to be a VTT for D&D?
Mhm.
And likely initially at first only for one D&D, 6th edition, or whatever they're going to want to call it.
Right.
Now, is it possible that they could say, hey, we could support prior editions. We can support 5e, 4e, 3x, 1, 2, original, basic. They could, if the money was in it. You know, but then you're never going to see them say, oh, we're going to put yes, you can come our VTT and play Call of Cthulhu. It's you could probably do it, but it's not going to be a rule set that's going to be built in, and it's not going to be player rule sets allowed, because this isn't about you or me.
No.
It's about them making the monetization that they need to show Hasbro that they are valid, they are valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Do I expect that, hey, you get your basic PC miniature, I got my basic fighter, you get to choose between, I don't know, 10 human fighters, half of them are male, half of them are female, different weapons. Oh, wait, you want to keep that model but swap out a weapon? Well, you can do that, but that's $1. You want to swap out a weapon. Oh, you want to have, you got, so in your game, you got yourself a Magical Elven Chainmail. Well, you can actually add Magical Elven Chainmail to your PC. That's $1. I mean, I do suspect it's going to be this microtransaction deal. Now, if they start charging you for your minis, little tchotchkes, then maybe it's not $1. Maybe it's 25 cents. Maybe it's really microtransaction numbers. And you think you've heard 5e players get upset when their Christmas tree character with all the lights and jingle dies, and they've already planned it out like they did with Pathfinder to get to like level 7, and you killed them at level 7?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I just invested $7.50 in my PC's character in the first, I don't know, 3 sessions, and you killed him, well, either I'm going to come back playing the same fucking character because I want to look like this, or now I have to buy a new PC. And maybe you're going to have to pay for a number of PC slots. Like maybe you get 4 slots for free. You want more PC slots. They did this with EverQuest when EverQuest went free. So you want more slots, you got to pay for more slots. They're looking at everything. They're looking at these MMOs. Yes. They're looking at the way Xbox games are funded.
Because, as they said famously recently, they think they're under monetized. That they think there's a lot of money out there that they're just leaving on the table.
Well, to some extent, they are. They're leaving probably 25 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
At the DM's Guild, because they're giving the other half to one bookshelf. Now, here's another thing to think about: one bookshelf, and Roll20 as a single entity. Now, do they decide that they're going to compete directly? How do they compete then with one D&D? Do they need a house system? Do they make a deal?
Yeah, how can they compete?
You got to have a house system. So you got to maybe you make a deal. I don't know with Pinnacle, right? And you bring Savage Worlds over, and that's your house system. And everybody, or maybe you make a deal with Chaosium and all of their systems. That's the house system. That gets the best support. That gets the bells and whistles, because you know that the VTT for one D&D is going to be sold as this is the place to play your D&D.
Right.
We offer this. We offer. It's going to be nasty, and you're going to have, right now. We have numerous VTTs, but we have 2 that are the top 2. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, and you can expect that Wizards of the Coast wants to be off screen up on top. They're going to play rough. They're going to play hard.
Oh, yeah.
And it might also be, too, that if you get in early, that you get a discount that will carry you over for later, because part of what they're going to want to do is convert the players from other VTTs to them, and you can only do that by offering a better deal.
Right.
So I'm catching up on the comments.
This is going to change. So is this going to change anything for any of us that don't play 5e? No, it's not. It's not going to change a single thing.
No.
But this is important because 5e is the brand now. It's the D&D brand, and so
it is the rising tide that lifts all ships. The OSR is stronger heck, the hobby is stronger for having 5e as part of it because it lifted everybody.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much crossover we have, and I've told stories many times about how people come to the convention to play 1E and 5E, or they play 5E already, they want to check out 1E, or they play 1E and they want to check out 5E. I mean, it just happens all the time. We're more cross-pollinated now than we have been during any edition of D&D. Because I'll tell you, except when D&D went from 1E to 2E, there's a lot of groups like myself. We just made that. It wasn't a big deal. But there was people that were diehard. I ain't going to play 2E. Screw it. And then when 3E came out, it was not backwards compatible with 1 or 2E. So you had a huge schism there, right?
Right.
I remember, I can't tell you, there was dark days. So our local game store, they wouldn't let us play anything but 3E in their store because they said that it doesn't make any sense because you're coming in here just using our tables and not buying anything. We eventually worked out a deal with them where we could play during the week when nobody was up at the game store. In other words, during weekdays.
Right.
Because they would literally not let us play on Saturdays, Fridays, or Saturdays or Sundays because they said that, no, 3E is bringing in all our money. You guys are playing an old dead game. Nobody wants to play that game. And, I mean, they weren't wrong, but it's pretty cutthroat, right? I mean, that's cutthroat. So there's more cross-pollination now than there ever has been. There was a lot of just absolute, you pay this edition, we don't want you. You know, I don't care about you. Or you're not, we're not catering to you at all. To where now, sure, you can walk into a convention and you can talk about all kinds of different editions with people. And people usually have at least a passing familiarity with, with some of the older editions. Like you said, the OSR has been amazing, and one of the reasons the OSR came about was because of people being dissatisfied with 3E and then 4E, and wanting to play a game that's simpler and that they easier to play and something that they enjoyed with their kids or they enjoyed when they were a kid and they wanted to play again. You kind of have this whole melting pot now, right, going on, this melting pot thing going on, where you go to conventions and pretty much the only game you don't see played there is 4E. Nobody plays 4E. You won't find a game. Our convention has never, North Texas never had a 4E game registered ever for 15 years. It probably will never will. But we've had every other edition. Every other edition of the game has been played there. And it's just, right now, like I said, it's just a huge melting pot of editions. It's going to be really interesting to see what 1D&D does that melting pot. Do you have another schism like you had with 1 and 2E and 3E when okay, we can't play this game anymore, because if you don't want to play online and use the VTT stuff, are you even going to want to play 1D&D? Why would you even want to play it?
Right.
And there's no point unless you just want to go to conventions and you want to tell people that you're playing the most updated version of D&D, but how's that even going to work in person gaming? How's that going to work? I don't know. I mean, I don't know yet. I have no clue.
Well, I suspect that Wizards of the Coast is, and Rob Conley and I have this argument all the time because Rob doesn't see how the switch to a digital gaming platform for D&D could work because people want physical books, and that's our generation. Our generation wants physical books. The current generations are more used to getting digital products, getting virtual products, renting what you think you own, right? Like, do you really own what you think you own? No, a lot of times you're renting it. This is going to be interesting to see if Wizards of the Coast, because just like 4E, 6E or 1D&D is going to live or die on that VTT.
Mm-hmm.
And 4E died an early death because it could never get it ground. That it was marketed and designed with the idea of being fueled by a VTT.
What they promised never came to pass, and so
Right.
It just died. It died. Yeah.
So that's another reason why I suspect that when the VTT does come out, it's going to be a really dirty game about trying to get a customer base from the other VTTs. Because you're not going to invent new VTT players. That is a finite number of what's out there. You're not going to just build a new base of people coming to go, oh, I play D&D. Oh, yeah, VTT. Oh, yeah, I hadn't heard about that, but virtual tabletop sounds interesting. No, people are going to go, oh, I use Roll20. Let's see what that's why they're going all bells and whistles. It's like, that's why they're going, oh, well, look, we've got Unreal Engine. Is Unreal even a realistic way to go? I don't know.
Right. Else is something that interesting. Just what incentive does the local game store promote one D&D line of DTC model and digital first personalization? So my theory is I think they have absolutely zero incentive. And I think if you read between the lines, what WotC's put out, they're gonna tell the game they don't have any use for the local game store.
Right.
And I'm just getting, now I could be completely wrong here, but read between the lines, look at what they've said and what they're doing. And it doesn't make any sense that they would support anything. How is a local game store going to help them? Are they going to run events that they play online? No, they don't need a local game store to do anything. They're not going to need it anymore. They're not marketing to the local game store anymore. And I guess the truth is, honestly, Eric, I don't think they've needed the local game store for a long time. I don't think that.
But I'm going to take it one step further. The other question is, will Adventurers League have support? Guaranteed it will have support.
Sure.
On the VTT.
Yeah.
They're going to expect you to play on your Adventurers League on the VTT. Another way to monetize it. Another way to keep you in their economy, in their environment. Once you're in, you playing in a game store, you making purchases from the game store, you're exposed to third-party product. You're exposed to evil other games, right? If they keep you within the D&D marketplace, the D&D environment, you're not exposed to other companies. Right. And here, I'm going to just throw out numbers. Let's say there are 20 million D&D players, and with one D&D, those 20 million D&D players shrink down to 10. But instead of getting a portion of that pie, they're getting all that pie because they keep them all in this environment. Then it's a win-win. I truly would not be surprised to see if the number of D&D players decreases with one D&D, not because it's going to be a bad system, but because they're going to be marketing it for people to do it digitally. And I do most of my gaming on VTTs today. I don't have an issue with it. But they don't want you in your local game store because your local game store, how much, their $50 book, what are they getting? Maybe 25. Whereas if you're buying in their bundle, that $50 book plus digital is getting them 60. That's all their money.
Yeah,
they're not sharing. They're getting 25 after cost. Maybe they're making a profit of 10, but the other way they're making a profit of 50. So if they lose customers but make more profit, they're doing right, as far as a business would say. Are they doing right by the community? That's never been their responsibility.
No, that's not their problem. They don't care. That's not something they care about. No, you're absolutely right, because people, I know when this happens, people are going to point and laugh and say, look, they've lost this much share of the market. If they're making it up online with their microtransactions and stuff, that's a good that's a trade-off that they're willing to make, that they're not going to be too upset about.
Right. Well, here, Rob, if Wizards of the Coast buys Roll20, they won't have to steal away anybody. Here's the thing: Roll20 and One Bookshelf are now the same company. They are merged. One Bookshelf emails are now coming back to Roll20.net. So, what does that mean? It means that Roll20 is now a larger purchase, and if you buy Roll20, you're also buying the digital marketplace for the hobby. Mm-hmm. And that I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, but I would suspect that would become a legal issue. So now, why did Roll20 and One Bookshelf merge? I'm going to throw a guess out there that one or more individuals involved in the merger said, hey, we don't want to be bought out, meaning Roll20. We want to be able to maintain our independence or whatever. And the best way to do that is become a bigger company. And how do you do that immediately? One Bookshelf is not small. One Bookshelf is pretty big, and that's become a harder acquisition to make. But it also guarantees you that Wizards of the Coast will have significant competition when their VTT comes out. You can't overlook that. Local game store is a middleman that eats into their profit margin for D&D.
Sure. Oh yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah. And I think they've got. See, one thing that Eric said earlier about being good in the community and being good for profit. Well, they're going to toss the community to be good for profit. That's one of the. Honestly, I think that's not good, because you do reap some benefits by being good for the community and not just looking at profit. Totally. I don't think their current mindset is aligned along that way. I think what's going on with them now is it's just it's turning into a bottom line company, right? Here's how much we're going to make. Here's how much we made. Here's last quarter. It's not that much about the games anymore. It's about the money. But I mean, what can you say? That's a lot of companies, and that's a lot of things going on right now. That's not just WotC. You can't just blame WotC for that one. That's the world now. But they're very much moving away from. These are fun games, man. It's just cool to get around the table, play with your friends, and look, here's Critical Role. That's awesome. And look, here's Luke Gygax and Joe Manganella and Deb Wall. They're playing online. That's really cool. It's just not. Look, unless it can sell the product, I don't think they're going to worry about it anymore. I don't think they're going to care. They've already got. I mean, they already don't go to Gen Con, right? They still don't go to Gen Con, do they?
No.
I mean, they don't care.
I would assume that with 1D&D they will return, because now they're trying to be multi-legged, there's like 4 legs to what they plan for D&D, and part of it's going to need an increased awareness amongst other geeks and nerds of how important D&D is. They got the movie coming out next year. Mm-hmm. And there's talk that they have a TV series, or I say TV series, on-demand series in the works. This is all stuff that if it all fits in a synchronicity type of environment, where the movie boosts the game, and then the game will boost the TV series and all that, they can do very well. But if I had a magic 8 ball, you could shake it and be like, what please shake again, or what are those? Who knows right now? It's not gonna say yes, no. It's like situation fuzzy. I don't know. We're still too far out. And again, folks, if 1D&D was coming out tomorrow, you would not see an open game license with it. I could guarantee you that.
Yeah.
I'd bet my pension.
No reason to do it.
I would make easy money. Now, is that going to be the same thing in a year and a half? Well, that's why people talk about this stuff. Personally, I'd like to see 1D&D succeed. I would like to see an open game license for 1D&D. I would like to see an open environment for third-party publishers, because strong third-party publishers for 1D&D breeds an extra bunch of strong third-party publishers for open game license games, including OSR games. But, they've been trying to get that genie back in the bottle since 4E. 4E was written because the open game license was too open.
They're stealing money from us, man. They're stealing all this money from us. But the whole point of the OGL was brilliant idea by the creators. Was it Ryan Dancy and who did the OGL? That was Ryan's.
Yeah,
baby, right. Brilliant idea, because then it saves what you have to work on. You don't have to put out adventures anymore. You don't have to put out the stuff. You let other people do that. You put out the core rules people have to come back and buy from you, and you let other people dabble on that stuff. And I think that's one of the things that's lost in that, is that you don't want to do all this extra work, especially with the quality of product that WotC's putting out lately. It's just been supposedly absolute garbage. That's something you don't want to have to worry about anymore. You don't want to have to put out product. Let somebody else that's better at what you're doing put out the product. And there's a lot of people that frankly, anything Frog God Game publishes nowadays is better than anything that WotC. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is. Any adventure that Frog God Game publishes right now is better than any adventure that WotC publishes. Just flat out, it just is. And If you want to include OSR stuff in there, there's plenty of OSR stuff that's better than anything WotC's published in the last year. OSC is killing it with what they're putting out. And I got my OSC package in, my Kickstarter package, and it blew me away. It's as nice as any of the stuff from WotC, and it's easier to play. It's just a better game. It's just a better. Everything's about it's better. I thought the artwork was everything. Everything's better, and so just let somebody else do all that. Put out the rules. Put out a supplementer once in a while. Put out a Tasha's book of whatever, or Volo's book or whatever. But let somebody else do the work. And I think when it comes down to the fact that they're not going to issue an OGL, we're gonna see how good their stuff is. We're gonna see how good their product is, because that's the only place product be coming from is them, right?
Yeah. So L makes a interesting point. They just need to DM's Guild all editions of D&D. That would be free money and fight the OSR. But here's the thing: we are in the OSR. We are wired into it, and that being said, the largest channel that is OSR oriented, right, is Questing Beast. And what did you have? Like 80,000, which is great. I've got 1.8. But I mean, we are.
Remember what I said about arrogance and their arrogance. They would never do that, because they would have to admit that other people were playing other editions of D&D than 5e, and they have done everything possible in the last 10 years to distance themselves from anything resembling old school D&D. They want you to think that nobody plays it. It's not any good. It was created by a bunch of old white guys who were out of touch and didn't know what they were talking about. And they would never do that for the simple fact they'd have to acknowledge it existed. And that they actually sold it. It actually sells stuff too. I guarantee you go to WotC. We know some people that work for WotC. Some of them are old school fans, but I guarantee you some of the people there, and I've heard stories I could tell Eric off the air, but not on the air, of they don't care or know anything about anything that happened before the year 2000 when it comes to D&D.
Right.
There was somebody. Can I couch this in a way that won't get me in trouble? Probably not. So I'll have to tell Eric later. But there was somebody that published something that was, and WotC's been doing this. So a lot of WotC, even though they grumble about how much they hate old stuff, they do publish stuff like Yawning Tales from the Yawning Portal, which was basically had 6 or 7 reprints of old material. Brought up to 5e. So they do stuff like that. So recently they published, within the last few years, they published a redo of an old classic module. And not only was the original author given 0 credit for it, this person was not even sent a complimentary copy of this or anything. Ouch. Say, hey, we published this redo, or we wrote your old product for 5e. They were not acknowledged, and they were not sent a copy. They don't care. They don't care about old school. They're not gonna have. Look, they want to get away from the OSR. I know a lot of people in the OSR are really scared. There's a lot of doom and gloom scenarios, and they're, oh my God, what this and that. The OSR isn't going anywhere because they don't want to acknowledge it exists. If they acknowledge it exists, then it holds power, right? It has power over this. Rob, I cannot say what module is because the cat's out of the bag right there. But talk to me at a convention. Meet me at a convention, I'll tell you. I'll tell Eric off the air. But no, I can't. We can't talk about it.
We have to keep certain things.
Yes.
Or else we're no good to you. Honestly. If we can't keep confidences, then what good are we?
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's an example of something that I know that shows how little they think of the old guard, the old school, just everything. They don't care. And they think they're better. They think their stuff's better. And they just think that everything they do is better. And they're making so much money now. Everything's great. And it's a lot of it's hubris and arrogance. And that brought down empires, man. And that's what they have tons of that now. They've got tons of hubris and arrogance right now.
Wow, Mike, we've blown right past the witching hour.
What the hell? And we barely really. So everything that Eric and I talked about tonight, 95% of it is absolute speculation on our parts because we don't know. I'm very interested in this story, and you should be too for the next year or so. It's gonna be the big topic of conversation all through 2023. Wouldn't you say so, Eric? I mean, this is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. 2023.
And by the way, although we speculate, all right, our speculation is based upon knowledge that we have that is out there. What Wizards of the Coast is doing now, what they've announced, what their intentions are, combined with some behind the scenes information that we know because of certain connections that we have. So, would I say, for most of what we talked about, that you should be a betting man and put your money down? I think that we're going to do better than the 50-50 odds by far. But, it's so far out between what we're talking about now and what could happen.
And what we don't know is, and nobody knows, is this going to be a success? Is going to be an absolute, is this going to be new Coke and be an absolute failure to the point that they just like, oh God, we give this up in 6 months. This is just the biggest, which they wouldn't. They wouldn't give it up in 6 months. They've been building up too much. But it could be an absolute failure, but it could succeed too. They could they could fall forward because they do that a lot. They screw up and they fall forward. Oh, we screwed this up, but look, we made another $1 billion. Wow, isn't that great? It doesn't mean they're doing anything right or they know what they're doing. It just means that people want to play D&D. They love D&D.
Here, I'll make one last prediction on this. Based upon the knowledge that we have, that there's internal discussion that, again, doesn't want an OGL. I would suspect that 6E is going to be, I know it's saying backwards compatible. It's going to be different enough. It's going to have some new mechanics that will make it hard, if not impossible, to duplicate using the current OGL. And that is going to be their way of making 6E its own different system that you can't write new material for unless you're within their own environment and sandbox. That's my prediction. That one, I'd put money on it. I wouldn't be confident that I'd definitely make my money back, but I put money on that one.
L says that's what I was going to answer. I wish you were right, but I don't think you're right, Alan. Here's why. The OSR is too fractured and scattered, and there's too many flags on too many hills to ever be a threat to 5e. There's just, when you say OSR, what do you mean? You mean 1e? You mean 2e guys? You mean retro clones? Do you mean Labyrinth Lord? Do you mean OSC? Now, OSC is probably the standard bearer right now of what's going on in the OSR. But even OSC, you could talk to your average Joe on the street. They don't know what OSC is. They know what D&D is, 5e, but they don't know what OSC is. So I just think it's too scattered. There's just too many people playing too many different versions of the OSR as a whole for it to ever be any kind of threat to them. But the great thing, here's the great thing about this game we love, is that, like I said before, all you need is the rules to play. And no matter what WotC does with 1D&D, no matter what they do with it, it's not going to change what I do. We're going to play D&D next week, my group of me and 4 other people. It's not going to change anything we do. There's nothing that 1D&D is going to do that has any effect on our game. And there's thousands of games like that across the United States, across the world, that 1D&D is not going to have one single effect on what they do.
I want to address what Dandelion Game says. I thought you couldn't copyright mechanics, just terms. Well, that is certainly true. However, if you are using the OGL, you are restricted by what's in the OGL. You can't fall back upon the OGL and say, oh, but I'm going to add in stuff that isn't, because you're restricted by the OGL. The OGL holds you within its parameters as much as it holds which is other codes.
Sure.
It's now, could you replicate it? Sure. How many people do it? I'll tell you. Only one successfully has really consistently done OSR material without using the OGL at all. Kevin Crawford. All right? Kevin Crawford. Each of his releases, amazing releases. I own them all. They are spectacular. No OGL. But that means you got to be able to restate everything. And you want to restate everything to get around the 6E, because I'm going to guarantee you, we are so used to using the OGL that we're going to forget what isn't. You're going to have to go back and literally build it up from the basement up, and be like Kevin Crawford. So,
Yes.
and once you've done it, now you have an engine that can be used for different genres, different games, certainly. But are you willing to put that effort into it? Most people aren't. Not when the OGL is there. The OGLs are just.
I mean, yeah. I mean, something like Savage Worlds is great. And people use Savage Worlds. Apparently it's a really great system for almost any genre. But how many people are out there creating the next Savage Worlds? I mean,
right. So, on that note.
Well, we have one more show before Christmas, and then we have another show after that. So,
yeah,
a couple little tidbits. I did talk to somebody who we're thinking about having on next week, Mr. Tom Tullis. You might have heard of. He is going to delay until the end of January because he has a Kickstarter launching end of January. So we are going to have Tom Tullis on. We're going to bring the new year 2023 with a Tom Tullis January. Which God help our souls, which may get us off the. We may be off the air, Eric. We may never come on after. We may get banned.
Well, I'm sure we'll be demonetized.
We'll be demonetized, definitely. So right now we're up in the air about next week. We'll do something we don't know yet. But the week after that, I talked to Eric and he thought it was a good idea. We're going to have on just a bunch of our buddies from. Friday night, Joe the Lawyer, Rob Conley. Did Matt say he would be there?
Matt works evening hours, so it might be tough. But he dropped in on this past Friday, so
maybe Glenn Hallstrom, our buddy Glenn, and we're gonna have a wrap up end of the year. I might think of some topics to ask everybody and have everybody comment on them. Maybe Eric and I can think of some comments because those guys are great. That's what I love listening to the Friday night stuff. It's great. And if you don't listen to the Friday night stuff, you're missing out. So we're going to get everybody's opinions on 1D&D and anything else that happened this year that we care to talk about that we don't want to talk about. Or that we want to talk about, not stuff we don't want to talk about, but we will have opinions on that. So that's going to be our end of the year show. Our in 2 weeks from now. So we have some plans. We have some plans coming up. We have plans coming up.
We got plans.
We got plans, man.
And we surpassed 1,800 subscribers earlier today. Let me
yes, our march towards 2,000 continues. So we're 200 away from 2,000, and God knows what's going to happen with 2,000. I don't know.
Yeah, we're at 1807 at the moment.
I guess we'll have another drawing, and Jen Glazer wins some more.
No more Jen Glazer.
She'll win some. We'll have a 2,000 drawing, and we'll draw us up, and she'll win like 5 in a row, and that she'll wipe us out. Now we make fun of Jen, but the last time she won a bunch, she donated them back to the. Did they donated the one time they won all those gift certificates? Didn't they? Yeah, so we give the Glazers a hard time, but they're good people, and know that she won so much stuff, she donated it back to them.
It's like I can't take it all.
She can't take all the gift cards they won, the gift certificates they won, like everyone. So, but if we don't tell you enough, thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks for coming, especially nights like tonight. We're not talking about anything. I told Eric it's so funny because. Really, honestly, the times we don't have a special guest, we probably have more viewers than the ones when we have a special guest, which I don't understand that because I don't know why anybody want to sit and listen to us blowhard to talk for 2 hours. But
they're so crazy.
We appreciate you guys doing it. Thanks a lot, and thanks for your intelligent discourse in the comments too. I really appreciate that.
You all. Guys and gals, make this live stream work, whether it's on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday with Rich and I. It's the live audience, the live feedback. I wouldn't have it any other way. I've said it before. Professor DM, we've hung out, we've shared drinks, and he's always like, I look at you and you do these live streams, and I'm like, how do you do it? Because it's so you can't. You're stuck with what is said. And I'm like, you know what? Well, first off, although I'm monetized, we don't make much money from this, so it's not like going to be a huge loss if somebody like goes off the rails and lands in the marsh. But but on top of that, I find that the live streams are just so enjoyable to do. I'm willing to take that risk that something goes off the rails. I really am. It's just
we've until we have Tom Tullis on in January, which will probably go off the rails.
I probably won't even monetize that episode.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Like, we're gonna just be full of shit.
That's gonna be a rough one. If you don't know Tom Tullis,
you'll know Tom Tullis.
Fat Dragon Games, awesome 3D molds, but his Facebook presence is problematic at best, and so he's a man that's very proud of getting banned from Facebook continually. So, but no, great guy. Great guy. His Kickstarters are extremely successful, so we'll probably be pimping his Kickstarter come January. So yes, come meet Tom Tullis with us and see why we will probably be demonetized that week.
Folks, normal speech, especially. Listen again. My mother's bad cold wound up being COVID, so use your common sense. And
you want to send you some Winter Jack? I'll send you some Winter Jack. You drink a bottle of this.
I got leftover from last year.
Oh, okay, well, drink some. You'll be better in no time.
Yeah, and I think I have JD Apple too.
Oh, there you go.
Well, yeah, so I got plenty of Apple to come. So, but folks, use your common sense. I mean, in my case, I went to my local Walgreens and picked up my 8 free tests. You're entitled to this once a month, either directly through the government or through your health insurance or through your prescription plan. Figure it out. Make a few phone calls. But, knowledge is power. Other than that, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. I will be back again tomorrow with some random shit. But remember, tenkarstavern.com, the Substack, the places where we're also going to be giving out OSR Christmas gifts. Tomorrow we have a hangout in the Discord at Tenkar's Tavern Discord at 9 p.m. And next live stream is 8 p.m. Friday. All right, folks.
All right. Later, everyone.
Later.